Like that. If I could train a dragon, I could dance from a lion. Any climbing and I'm shining like a diamond out of Zion. Been a tyrant, never silent. My retirement's desire, but my toiletries is fire. Waiting for my attire. If I could aim any higher, I hit the Allah higher. My asylum is in the bottom, my fringes in the bottom. Wobble, wobble, shaking, shaking the city with a trunk. Cause it's one big titty bitch. Really getting fucked from the front to the back. We never stop, we'll never lag while they recover from the seven. We on the streets wreaking havoc, bringing terror from the blood. This is Donald stripping the club with those models, dripping with blood from the scripture. Shit, you won't tell me, you nigga, I'm here to trouble you. Promising I'm a trouble shit. Rich niggas won't fuck with you, my people so uncomfortable. Usher you to the upper room, truly we the untouchable. Fully automatic boss status. 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 I'm here to conquer word is still in the front to get it on. She got the beauty in the front, bully eating the thumb. Wisdom will never come when your vision breaking your jaw. With the footage breaking it off, so we're ruthless about the law. Killing these Christians when it comes to religion, you live in false hostility in your thoughts. One coming through with the law, Kentucky ain't off with my chip, but put indigenous, we'll call it Kuchen Bro. Taking the sucker off the mountain like Moses before the battles. The chariots in the rattle, we riding up while the shadow. You copycats get the gallows, we coming out of the shadow with this. Resurrect, you get left one. Fully automatic boss status. 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 I'm facing east when I pray, but it's one west. All this camouflage on me, I'm a war vet. You be cake on the road, I ain't far-fetched. You niggas won't world peace like Ryan Artest. Hey, took it and ran with it. The old me had to die for me to transition. All the churches closed down, it's a pandemic. You be carrying everything like a transition. You can thank the general, I had the bar. Niggas running out of time like I have more. Red cup like label, I'm a connoisseur. I'll leave it wet if I draw the sword. Nigga, this the code of conduct. Put on all black, get some rank, I know he's solid. She ain't gotta get naked, she know she poppin'. We was yelling bad up way before the virus. Hey, most high Christ, this type of life ain't for the weak, you gotta sacrifice. Keep it up. We seeing unaware. Niggas go against the grind like they cut hair. But I'm a priest and prophet, I gotta teach. You might not get to see me 7 days out the week. You got questions, we got breakdowns. You BK about to spread like a breakout. Refuge, this is safe house. Not too many take this road, but it's the safe route. Battle like our fathers, let it play out. Fully automatic boss status. 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 I got you. Let it grab real quick. Look. City out, it's time to roll off. And I got a real nigga. And she want no dog. Posted on the corner like a watchdog. That bitch short and they shouting. Blinded by the mop hole. What they heard, but Canada is all true. He forced it, the family is forced to fall through. They gon' move, cause I keep this shit fit. Sound true, ain't no more hard in this game. I'm John Q. Colder than that.
Shout to a ghost town. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right. Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. I'm Precinct Officer 5000, Kasar Pakad. This is the Wednesday night law class for ISUPK Northern California. Tonight, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic. The Lord destroyed Egypt and their gods with plagues. We are in the middle of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Just got back from Passover. It was a glorious event. It was excellent to see all the brothers from all over the world, all over the states here in America, the Caribbean islands, the brothers from the UPK. It's like from the UK. They're from the UPK, but they're from the UK. Shout out to all them brothers, man. It was definitely an amazing event. It's just a little bit of the kingdom here in our hell and our captivity that we get to experience, while we wait for our king to return and to destroy this place for all the evil and wickedness that it has done. And this is modern day Babylon and Egypt. This is that place that we were prophesied to go into. And this is the place that our Lord is going to come in and deliver us. All right, let me see. Let me get this precept. Egypt. And this is the times that we are waiting for. We're going to get to Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14. Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 14. We're going to run through this class real quick. Probably be about an hour-long class, so bear with me, Israel. Let's see what we got going. If you have any questions, go ahead, type them in the chat. The first precept, what we say, Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 14. Let's go ahead and get it. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. This is the times that we are entering into. These are the times that we are praying for to bring forth these things that the prophet Jeremiah was prophesying back in these days. That the Lord will come in and destroy this modern day Egypt that we're living in and curse it with plagues and death and destruction that this place deserves for all the pain and suffering and death and blood it brought upon the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. All right. Shalom, Yabashim, Yahshua, a third to Officer Yaganan. Yeah, that brother out there, I believe, in Austin, Texas. I saw him out there at Passover. I heard that brother's name a few times. I think he was in the Feast of Unleavened Bread asking questions as well. But Most High in Christ for all them brothers out there once again. And I'm going to read this verse one more time. Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Yasharallah out of the land of Egypt. This was the most important thing and event that happened to the children of Israel as a nation. When we got brought out of Egypt, because Egypt it's almost hard to comprehend how great of a nation Egypt was at this time. But when you think about how America was in the 1800s, really wasn't a lot going on here. People living in log cabins, horses, not too much technology in the 1700s, just plain life, farm life, like majority of people live all over the world. Now you got to go back thousands of years before that. In Egypt, they got the pyramids being built up. These pharaohs are living in mansions. They got pools. They got heated pools. They got all this type of technology. You know what I mean? Chariots. They riding on chariots when everyone else in the world is just living a little bit above caveman style. You know what I mean? Farmers living plain lives, hunter gatherers. They weren't living these extravagant lives. You come into Egypt and it's looking like New York City to you from living a small farmer's lifestyle. You got people roads, you got this water, irrigation, all this different type of things. It would just look like a modern city. Like here, we live in the Bay Area, right? In the San Francisco Bay Area right now, they have self-driving cars. And the cars are driving around San Francisco and there's nobody driving and people hopping in the back seat and getting right around. When people come from out of town, from different states, from Florida, from Texas, maybe not from Texas, I think they got some of them out there too, but they coming from these different states that don't have this technology going on right now, they're shocked. They're like, this is crazy. They stop, look, but it becomes normal to us. That's the feeling you would get going into ancient Egypt if you weren't living in a place like this. And so all this technology, all this military might, for someone to stop this nation from being in charge, it was a very big thing. So that's the claim to fame the children of Israel had. Verse 15, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. The same God that was there back then is the same God watching you suffer in hell right here in Compton, California, right here in Oakland, California, right here in Richmond, California, right there in Detroit, Michigan, in Chicago, Illinois. It's the same God that lived back then is the God that's alive right now. And from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers, right? And so we will be brought back into our homeland, and they will no longer say we were the people that were brought up out of Egypt. They'll say we were the people that were brought up out of America, the place that had the stealth bomb, the place that had the nuclear bombs, the place that had all this technology and all this great weaponry. This is the place we'll be brought from. We're going to go back in time, though. We're going to look at how the Lord dealt with these heathens, these so-called Egyptians, and how he delivered us. Because every plague that was brought up against the children of Egypt was a plague to destroy and kill their gods and the myth that their gods had any power, right? Let's go to Numbers chapter 33 in verse 3, right? Once again, if y'all have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Any comments on topic or off topic, we'll get into it, right? The book of Numbers, chapter 33, in verse 3, all right? And it reads, let's start at verse 1, all right? These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are their journeys according to their goings out. And they departed from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow after the Passover. The children of Israel went out with an high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians, right? And so this is the time that we're getting into right now, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. When you have the Passover night was the night that the angel of death came and killed all the firstborn of the children of Egypt and plagued them with death. And after that, we packed up our bags and got the hell out of there, man. We had to, what they say, we had to do it moving, as people in the Bay used to say. So we had to get out of there. And when we're getting out of there, we're not having any time to make leavened bread. This is why this is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, for these days and this time that we were moving exiting out of Egypt. Hence the name, the Exodus, right? Verse 4, for the Egyptians buried all their firstborns, which the Lord had smitten among them upon their gods. Also, the Lord executed judgments. So this is the plagues that are being brought against these so-called Egyptians. And this plagues were not only to destroy and kill these people, their morale, to kill their livestock, to kill their economy, to kill everything that made them great. Specifically, the thing is, it's just like America. Think about it. The people here in America think America is right. So if America is right because it has wealth, because it has power, because it has, weaponry and military might, then God must be with America. And if God must be with America and you want to be like America, you're going to want to worship the God that America worships. It's the same thing. And that's why you love white Jesus. That's why you fall into the Christian church. That's why you have a prosperity gospel. Because what is America about? Prosperity. America is about joining all nations together, loving everybody. So that's the type of God you want to serve. That's the type of spirit you want to have. And this is what we do in this place. Everyone wants to follow the God of America because they believe that's what made it powerful. And that's how they felt in ancient Egypt. If they telling you this bull is what's making them rich, you superstitious and you a dumb Negro, you a dumb Latino, you're going to say, okay, well, let me get a bull calf. It must work because they got what I don't have. I'm just a slave. I don't have any food to eat. I don't have any water to drink. I don't have any house of my own. I don't have anything to call my own. So I'm wishing and hoping and praying on this bull to give me the same things it gave to this powerful Egyptian. Well, the Lord had to destroy that in your mind. The Lord had to show you that there is no power with white Jesus. That's what he's going to have to do. There is no power with all nations coming together. There is no goddamn power with you loving your oppressor and being a goddamn rainbow person like these people want you to be. That's where all the power is here in America. Now, there ain't no power in that. There's death in that. There's destruction in that. And we're going to destroy that in your mind by showing you this place is going to fall because they love those type of things, right? Let's drop that. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. Let's start at verse 14. All right. And this is such an amazing time to be around. What's the name of that album? What a Time to Be Alive. What a time to be alive, Akim and Akwatin. This is a glorious time to be alive. Every day you wake up, the news is like bringing this Bible to life. It's bringing to the words that Commander Jerry Yohana has been teaching, the words that the men that founded and started the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is bringing all their words to life. This is a glorious time to be alive. And this is an honor that we should not take lightly. This is a time for us to rededicate ourselves after the Passover, get our zeal back in line, get our brotherhood back on point, man. Don't forget about brotherhood. Brotherhood is love for your people and your nation, love for your brothers, and love is a sacrifice. That's what it is. You have to sacrifice for your brothers. You can't have love for someone and all it is you feeling good about yourself, doing things for yourself. Love hurts. It hurts to give. It hurts to give love to your brothers. That's what it's going to be. It hurts to give love to these sisters. It hurts to give love to your family. It hurts to give love to your people. And it's a glorious thing to receive that love back, man. And that's what we have to do. And that's what brotherhood is about. So let's rededicate ourselves to brotherhood. Let's rededicate ourselves to the sisterhood for the sisters out here. Let's rededicate ourselves to our nation of people and living and showing that example that was put down in this Bible so that our king can hurry up and return and say, you know what? These are people that deserve to be free from underneath these devils, man. These are a nation of people that deserve to see their enemies be punished for the crimes that they've committed. All right. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 14. All right. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. This thing that you've given up your life for, killing and dying, selling dope, sisters out here prostituting their body, man, for money and gold and silver and apparel. These things are waiting for us. We don't got to do nothing but love one another as we love ourselves. It sounds crazy. And you think it's crazy because your oppressor could never gain the wealth and power that he could by doing that. He gains his power by stealing, killing, raping, robbing, all of the evil iniquities that you can think of, backstabbing, conniving. Those are the things that your oppressor has done to gain power in the earth. So you feel like you need to do these things to gain power in the earth when it's the exact opposite. You have to stop killing to gain power. You have to stop selling drugs to gain power. You have to stop being a whore and pimping and doing all these things and pandering. You have to stop scamming. You have to stop, every dirt that you do in this nation. You have to stop doing that because this is not our way out. That's their way to the top. And our way to the top is destroying them through righteousness. All right. And so that's what it says, verse 15. And so shall be the plague of the house of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. They're going to be cursed if they don't bow down and say that Jesus Christ is a black man and is the ruler over all of the earth, the true King of kings and Lord of lords. They're going to have to humble themselves and bow down and pay tribute to the nigga, to the king nigga. You understand? And that's glorious, man. All right, let's keep reading. Verse 18. And if the family of Egypt got not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of the tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. Right? They're gonna have to honor and pay homage to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that are ruling over this place. And it'll just be like everything else, man. They won't be able to keep their bastardized holidays and worship their false gods anymore because of the plagues that were mentioned that will come up against them. And they won't be able to prosper because the Lord will destroy anything that they try to do. So they're going to have to be in complete order under the children of Israel. Now we're going to go to the book of Josephus. All right. The book of Josephus. Josephus was a man that was around the times after Christ, right up a little bit before, 70 AD. He was a historian. He also was a military leader that fought against the Roman Empire. And when those things didn't work out, Josephus was captured by the Romans and brought back to their, headquarters somewhere, I believe in the ancient city of Rome as well, or the center of the Roman Empire, where Caesar and all of them were living at. And he wrote down the history of the children of Israel and broke it down and gave, the accounts or the firsthand stories that had been passed down of what it was like. So it's like you're reading the Bible and you're seeing the accounts of what happened according to the prophets. Now, Josephus was not a prophet of God. He was just explaining in more detail, a little bit more detail, the stories that he heard about what happened in these days. And so we can use this and match it up with the Bible and give you a little bit more descriptions to bring these stories to life to see what was really going on. It's kind of like if these movies that you watch on TV about the Bible were really accurate, and you see a story about Moses, they're not gonna average movie you see is not gonna word for word, line for line say every word that came out of the Bible and speak it into life. They're going to add words in that Moses was saying in this conversation to bring the story to life. It's kind of like if you watch that TV show BMF. The beginning of the TV show BMF, they say this story is based on a lot of factual events, but it's also been dramatized to, bring things to life of these stories that happen. That's what Josephus is like, right? So Josephus, this is book number 2, chapter 14, and I guess the first verse you want to call it. But when the king despised the words of Moses and had no regard at all to them, grievous plague seized the Egyptians, every one which I will describe, both because no such plagues did ever happen to any other nation as the Egyptians now felt, and because I would demonstrate that Moses did not fail in any one thing that he foretold them, and because it is for the good of mankind that they may learn this caution. Good night. Y'all better learn this caution, America. You better learn this caution, China. You better learn this caution, India. You better learn this caution, Pakistan, that messing with Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians is not good for your health. You barking up the wrong tree. You might want to rethink these things. You might not want to come to America and take a dump. I want to say another word. You may not want to come and take a SHIT on the Lord's chosen people because you feel superior to them, because you see us suffering in this place on drugs, because you see us going and getting incarcerated. You see us out here bipping and having sideshows and living like we are a chicken with our head cut off. You better have some type of compassion for these people, understanding why we're in the conditions we are in, because 400 years of living like animals, you'd be surprised that we're not worse off than you would think. Like the fact that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are not running around literally shooting and killing every goddamn body, because the ones that are doing it is a small minority. They make it seem like the majority of our people are a bunch of just criminals, whores. All these things are myths that they promote. They glorify it. Yeah, we have a higher amount in our community than other communities, but it's not the majority, man. And it really should be a whole lot worse. And that shows you the resilience that we have as a nation of people. But I digress. Like, you shouldn't come to this place and think that you are such a better nation of people and that we are such an evil nation of people, instead of seeing the context of why the way we are. And you should learn this history and this cautionary tale of what happened to the Egyptians for how they treated us at this time, right? We're going to do a lot of reading through Josephus. Let's keep going. Not to do anything that may please God, lest he be provoked to wrath and avenge their iniquities upon them. For the Egyptian river ran with bloody water at the command of the Most High, insomuch that it could not be drunk, and they had no other spring of water neither. For the water was not only of the color of blood, but it brought upon those that ventured to drink of it great pains and bitter torment. Such was the river to the Egyptians, but it was sweet and fit for drinking to the Hebrews, in no way different from what it naturally used to be. Like, and this water and this blood for them, it was disgusting. It was something that they couldn't consume. But for us, it was like, man, it was amazing. You know what I mean? It was like that. And as the king therefore knew not what to do in these surprising circumstances and was in fear for the Egyptians, he gave the Hebrews leave to go away. But when the plague ceased, he changed his mind again and would not suffer them to go. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. We can go in. Let's see. I know they have 2 types of. Let's see. We can look this up real quick. So you got the god of the Nile was known as Hapi or Happy and was the powerful Egyptian god who personified the blessing of the annual floods of the Nile River. And so the Egyptians had a god for everything, and some of these gods were so important. Everyone knows the importance of the Nile River to the Egyptian people. This is what was one of the main sources of the power of the ancient Egyptian people. And you can see right here, Happy or Happy, one of the gods that was powerful Egyptian god. And so when the Lord plagued the river, he's also killing in their mind the importance of this God and that he is not powerful more than the God of the children of Israel. And all of these gods, we only have one God. Ain't that some gangster? Ain't that some gangster ish right there, man? You got 1,000 guys. We got one guy, and he's coming through terrorizing your guys. That's America right now. You have a God of money. How much money, trillions of dollars, does America have? When this economy is destroyed, that should kill that power in your mind. Like, you're gonna have to imagine, like, brothers stay with what is that called? They stay with money blocks to their ear, talking to the money, cash money, throwing it on the floor, throwing it up in the air. And when that money doesn't have value anymore, your God doesn't have value anymore, who are you going to turn to? When you go to the store and you can't buy a loaf of bread with $500,000 because the inflation of the money has gone up so much, you are going to turn to the Lord, cry to him and ask him for help. Because you're going to realize that your white zaddy who rules America really doesn't have any power, and this money and this gold that you worship doesn't have any power. All right, let's keep going. We're going to remove that one. Go back to here real quick. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 2. But when God saw that he was ungrateful and upon the ceasing of this calamity would not grow wiser, he sent another plague upon the Egyptians. An innumerable multitude of frogs consumed the fruit of the ground. The river was also full of them, insomuch that those who drew water had it spoiled by the blood of these animals, as they died in, and were destroyed by the water. And the country was full of filthy slime, as they were born and as they died. They also spoiled their vessels and their houses, which they used, and were found among what they eat and what they drank, and came in great numbers upon their beds. Like, can you just imagine just the ground everywhere you walk? The water's filled. It's so much of them in the water, they dying because there ain't no room in the water because there's so many frogs that have plagued in this water. And you will go open your pie. Like, you ever lived in some place that's been infested by roaches? And then you see some of them places that are like ultra infested. You understand? Like, let's see if we can get a video of that real quick. Let me see. See if something comes up. Yeah, let's see something like that. See if that can come up. See how it looks, man. You don't even want to look at nothing like that too long. But this can come up.
Years have included maintenance and industry leading.
They come up from behind there.
Yeah.
And around the borderlines are here. And like this where my canned goods, that's they.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely the German cockroach. You can kind of see him running around up there. German cockroach. It's got to be the worst of all the cockroaches.
This is just.
I should have him running.
One of them that really.
Oh, my God. Look at.
Like,
and it's
talk
disgusting.
about cover. This is
Yes,
this
sir.
isn't even. See what we got. We can get one.
It's a little bit smaller, but same problem.
These people still living in these houses. Until we get something, man. Oh, what's they got that? Yeah, rat temple in India. How about something like this right here? This might kind of give kind of a
At
vibe.
first glance, welcome to the Rat Temple.
We consider the rats as a form of the goddess. We worship them.
The same thing. He's even always doing.
Jatudin is a priest of the Karni Mata temple in the village of Deshnok
Way
near
worse.
Bekaner.
They can still live.
It's his job to look after the
We're
rats.
seeing so many
But he
rats
doesn't just serve them.
to
He also drinks,
someone like
eats,
us.
and sleeps with them. Jatudin believes
That's the
they are his
right
ancestors, reborn as rats.
Some are my fathers, my grandfathers. My whole family is here.
Rats everywhere.
When they die, they're born as rats. When a rat dies, it's born as us humans.
So sacred are these rats that they're treated like celebrities.
The hell are they talking about?
Every
Are harmless.
Rats everywhere.
but outside
You
this
got a
temple,
time as
when
this
it
by 1,000 with frogs and dead frogs and slime. All of this coming from these people. This is how many frogs were all over Egypt, right? So I'm gonna read it again, right? In the middle of the verse 2 in the book of Josephus. An innumerable multitude of frogs consumed the fruit of the ground. The river was also full of them, insomuch that those who drew water had it spoiled by the blood of these animals, and as they died in and were destroyed by the water. The country was full of filthy slime as they were born and as they died. They also spoiled their vessels in their houses, which they used, and were found among what they eat and what they drink, and came in great numbers upon their beds, just like a rat infestation or a roach infestation like never seen before. There was also an ungrateful smell, and a stink arose from them as they were born and as they died therein. Like, if you have one animal, in your house, one dog, you go into somebody's house, you can instantly smell like this is a house where there's a dog or two that live up in here. You can smell it instantly. All these animals have smells. It's just so fewer, they so far away from you, you can't smell what a frog smells like. But you got millions of them all over the place, and they're dying, and they're, having bowel movements and being born. The stink, you could smell it miles away. You could smell it miles away from this. Now, when the Egyptians were under the oppression of these miseries, the king ordered Moses to take the Hebrews with him and be gone, upon which the whole multitude of the frogs vanished away, and both the land and the river returned to their former natures. Right? And so then, boom. Now we're going to bring up one more time. Bring up another one. Right. Boom. So then you get this. You can go and see right here. We'll bring this up on the screen. So lock it. Boom. Boom. So right there. And Shalom Yabashim Yashab Rakatha to Trooper Matam Yad, checking in from San Jose. My brother right there, man, had a glorious time out there. Got to dwell in unity with this brother out there in Passover. And it was an amazing event. And y'all brothers made it even better and glorious, you know what I mean? Getting to spend some time with the Akia, man. And so the water to that brother was out there putting in work, after Passover, holding it down, and much respect and honor to that brother Matam Yad Ban Yashakar, holding it down for the tribe of Issachar. All right. Now let's go ahead and get this Egyptian god, the god, what is it called? Heket. The god Heket. Sometimes spelled Heket, is an Egyptian goddess of fertility, identified with Hathor, represented in the form of a frog. To the Egyptians, the frog was an ancient symbol of fertility related to the annual flooding of the Nile. Like, it's almost some gangster. So when the Lord's going to destroy the river, there, boom, you must send a plague of frogs in that river and all over your city. And you think this is a God of fertility, the Lord's going to multiply these frogs so much that you're going to want to hate frogs. Like, if you ever lived in the hood and you ever been in a house that had roaches, you hate roaches with a passion. You see roaches and it's like you want to set them on fire, you want to smash them, you want to put raid, you want to bomb them, smoke them out, whatever you can do to roaches because you've been plagued with roaches. You understand? Imagine how you feel about frogs after being plagued with frogs, right? Let's keep going. Exit that one out. Go back. Boom. But as soon as Pharaoh saw the land free from this plague, he forgot the cause of it and retained the Hebrews. He still don't want to let us go. This is the thing. This is like COVID happening right now. This is like COVID happening and the whole world being shut down and America not having any conscience, not having any self-awareness that maybe America should change the way it's treating its people here that it used to get everything that it has. Maybe America should go in a different direction and stop treating Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans like animals. Nah, they're not going to think about that. They say once COVID goes, we right back to putting a foot on your neck. We right back to oppressing you like nothing ever happened. Like we didn't sit here and beg God to deliver us from these plagues. That we did it, we saved ourselves, and now it's back to business. Nah, they didn't figure that out yet. And was the brother Questalaki, if I may, was Egypt already here before Adam and Eve? All right. Before Adam and Eve, the world was operating at a lower state. So the land of Egypt, obviously has been around where people built up and living like the Egypt that we know, ancient Egypt at that time. They did not have the knowledge that they learned. They had to get this from Adam to bring them up from being like at a lower state, just walking around, dragging their knuckles, you understand? And the children of Egypt that really developed were the children of Ham. That's where we get from Moses. You have Moses' three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and the ancient Chemetians, as they call them, come from Ham, and those things were after the flood, right? Also, if I can get a definition of Egypt, looked it up, but it has different meanings. So Egypt, I believe the land of Kemet. What do they say Kemet means? It's a lot of different definitions. I believe it has something to do with black definition. Black land, right? The Egyptians called their country Kemet, literally the black land, meant black in ancient Egypt. The name derived from the color of the rich and fertile black soil, which was due to the annually occurring Nile inundation. So that's where the land Kemet comes from, ancient Egypt. It also most likely is tied into dealing with the dark-skinned Hamites that lived there as well. You know, and as far as the definition of Egypt, Egypt is just a modern word they use to call the land of Kemet, which they actually called themselves, or the land of Matazarian, as we would call it in the ancient Hebrew. All right. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit. If it's not so, you need some more clarity, go ahead and type in the chat. Let's keep going though for time's sake. He forgot the cause of it and retained the Hebrews as though he had in mind to try the nature of more such judgments. He would not yet suffer Moses and his people to depart, having granted that liberty rather out of fear than out of any good consideration. That's another thing. Like when America started giving, stimulus packages and all this stuff, helping people out during the pandemic, it wasn't because they did it out of the kindness of their heart. It was because they did it out of fear. They had a fear that these people will riot and overturn this place if they don't have any food to eat, if they have all this fear that they won't have a place to stay. So they put up moratoriums where you can't get evicted from your house. They're giving you food stamps. They're giving you stimulus. They telling you that you have access to this and to that because they know these people rise up and start fighting over the basics of life, that this place will be destroyed. And they didn't, the Pharaoh didn't care about the children of Israel. He just had fear in the times of his danger and his calamity, so he tried to appease the children of Israel. Verse 3, accordingly, God punished his falseness with another plague, added to the former, for there arose out of the bodies of the Egyptians an innumerable quantity of lice, by which, wicked as they were, they miserably perished, as not able to destroy this sort of vermin either with washes or with ointments, at which terrible judgment the king of Egypt was in disorder, upon the fear into which he reasoned himself, lest his people should be destroyed. And that manner of this death was also reproachful, so that he was forced in part to recover himself from his wicked temper to a sounder mind. For he gave leave for the Hebrews themselves to depart. But when the plague thereupon ceased, he thought it proper to require that they should leave their children and wives behind them in pledges of their return, whereby he provoked the Most High to be more vehemently angry at him. Right? So this is another plague, the plague of the lice. Well, guess what? These filthy, disgusting people in Egypt had a god of lice as well. They had so many guys. Let's see, who is that? Let's see. I think it was Heget. A-E-G-T. Let's see. Blah. Heget. Let's see that one. Let's see. For time's sake, it doesn't come up. Yeah, there we go. Well, we always hear the famous images of Geb from Captain Tazariak and his battles with Kemet. They don't never want to talk about Geb and why he's sitting there with a rod in his mouth looking disgusting. Is because these people right here, I don't want to see, get a bigger image of it. We do it like that. Maybe we do it like that. Okay. Geb was the god of the earth. The lights were made of the dust that arose when Aaron stuck his staff against the earth. So this would have fallen in Geb's jurisdiction. This is his last time Aaron's staff is used, and the first time magicians could not match the plague. And so all these lights that were coming out is going against the god Geb. Let's bring it back. Let's keep on going. But so it just keeps going back. Let's go to the verse 4. We'll drop down. We're in the book of Josephus, book 2, chapter 14, and verse 4. But when Pharaoh did not even then yield to the will of the Most High, but while he gave leave to the husbands to take their wives with them, yet insisted that the children should be left behind. God, the Most High, presently resolved to punish his wickedness with several sorts of calamities, and those who then foregoing which yet had so generally afflicted them, for their bodies had terrible boils, breaking forth with blains, while they were already inwardly consumed. And a great part of the Egyptians perished in this manner. But when the king was not brought to reason by this plague, hail was sent down from heaven, and such hail it was as the climate of Egypt had never suffered before, nor was it like that which falls in other climates in wintertime, but was larger than that which falls in the middle of spring to those that dwell in the northern and northwestern regions. This hail broke down their bowls laden with fruit. After this, a tribe of locusts consumed the seed, which was not hurt by the hail. So boom, the hail's coming down so hard out of the sky, it's destroying all the fruit, knocking the apples and the oranges out the trees, destroying them, breaking them to pieces. Then after that, whatever's left of the the fruit is destroyed by the locusts, or the seed that was supposed to be grown, that was not hurt by the hail. The Egyptians lost that, and so to the Egyptians, all hopes of the future fruits of the ground were entirely lost. So you got one God of the God of the sky. You see that real quick? I'll bring that up. Horus, since Horus was said to be the sky, he was considered to also contain the sun and moon. Egyptians believed that the sun was his right eye and the moon his left eye, and that they traversed the sky when he, a falcon, flew it across. Like they believe Horus is the entire sky, and that's what they were worshiping. Well, guess what? Now out of the sky is coming this plague of hail, destroying the earth. Let's keep going. To 5, where we at for time? We got about 10 more minutes. One would think the aforementioned calamities might have been sufficient for one that was only foolish without wickedness, to make him wise and to make him sensible what was for his advantage. But Pharaoh led not so much by his folly as by his wickedness. Even when he saw the cause of his miseries, he still contested with God and willfully deserted the cause of virtue. So he bid Moses to take the Hebrews away with their wives and children, but to leave their cattle behind, since their own cattle were destroyed. But when Moses said that what he desired was unjust, since they were obliged to offer sacrifices to the Most High of those cattle, in the time being prolonged on his account, a thick darkness without the least light spread itself over the Egyptians. So once again, like, they're not seeing a correlation between the plagues that are happening. They're not really understanding it. They say, okay, yeah, this is probably going on, but when it goes away, yeah, bring them niggas back here, man. We're not gonna let them go. They changing their mind about how they're gonna treat us. That is a perfect example of America. America is the very same way. When it's convenient for them to try to show some love and try to act like they have changed the way they're treating blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, they'll do it. But as soon as they sit back and get to a better position, they turn right back on us again, man. Want us to be right back in our place. And this is talking about when they cut out the lightness and they weren't able to see. And the time being prolonged on this account, a thick darkness without the least light spread itself over the Egyptians, whereby their sight being obstructed and their breathing hindered by the thickness of the air, they died miserably and under a terror lest they should be swallowed up by the dark cloud. Like, it's such a darkness, and it's just the air, they can't even breathe in this darkness in this air. That attack was on the sun god, which was, what is it, Ra, the Egyptian god of the sun, which is Ra. Once again, show you Ra. Everybody's heard about Ra. Was the king of the deities and the father of all creation. He was the patron of the sun, heaven, king, worship, power, and light. Well, the Lord destroyed Ra because you can call upon Ra all you want. You can pray and bow down and do whatever type of weird Egyptian voodoo you want to do, and it's not going to help you because the God of the children of Israel destroyed your God Ra. You done built temples to him and spent your whole life giving to Ra, and Ra didn't do a goddamn thing for you when you really needed him. Let's see. Besides this, when the darkness after 3 days and as many nights was dissipated, and when Pharaoh did not still repent and let the Hebrews go, Moses came to him and said, How long wilt thou be disobedient to the command of the Most High? For he enjoins thee to let the Hebrews go, nor is there any other way of being freed from the calamities you are under, unless you do so. But the king was angry at what he said, and threatened to cut off his head if they came any more, to trouble him about these matters. Hereupon Moses said he would not speak to him any more about them, for that he himself, together with the principal men among the Egyptians, should desire the Hebrews to go away. So when Moses had said this, he went his way. And so he's trying to figure out how long is he going to go against the children of Israel and then not really stand on what the Lord wants him to do. And this is another example, right? Let's keep going. Verse 6, but when God had signified that with one more plague he would compel the Egyptians to let the Hebrews go, he commanded Moses to tell the people that they should have a sacrifice ready and that they should prepare themselves on the 10th day of the month Xanthicus against the 14th, which month is called by the Egyptians Pharmuth and Nisan by the Hebrews, but the Macedonians call it Xanthicus. And that he should carry away the Hebrews with all they had. Accordingly, he having got Hebrews ready for their departure, having sorted the people into tribes, he kept them together in one place. But when the 14th day was come, and all were ready to depart, they offered the sacrifice and purified their houses with the blood, using bunches of hyssop for that purpose. And when they had supped, they burnt the remainder of the flesh as just ready to depart. You know, they had this big grill off. That's what they doing. They grilling all this food. After the glorious events that occurred to destroy this place. It talks about the feast of the Passover. Whence it is what we do still offer this sacrifice in like manner to this day, and call this festival Pesach, which signifies the feast of the Passover, because on that day the Most High passed us over and sent the plague upon the Egyptians. For the destruction of the firstborn came upon the Egyptians that night, so that many of the Egyptians who lived near the king's palace persuaded Pharaoh to let the Hebrews go. Accordingly, he called for Moses and bid them begone, and supposing that if once the Hebrews were gone out of the country, Egypt should be freed from his miseries, they also honored the Hebrews with gifts, some in order to get them to depart quickly, and others on account of their neighborhood and friendship they had with them. All right. And so all these different plagues, once again, from the sun, Amun-Ra, from the frogs, from the locust was another big one. All those things that these Egyptians worship, the Lord had to kill. All right. Brother has a question. Salaki, if I may, all the 12 tribes were in Egypt or separated, needed scripture about Pesach. So all the 12 tribes were in Israel. you can get that. Go back to what is that? Genesis. Genesis. Find that real quick. Boom. Jacob, Joseph's dream. Joseph. Let's see. I guess I can find it quickly. Here it goes. Yeah. So we can go to the book of Genesis, chapter 46. And I guess you can go. I guess you can go to. I guess you can read up on that on your own, the whole chapter, but it talks about the book of Genesis, chapter 46, and verse 8. And these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt: Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and the sons of Reuben. And then I'm just skipping down verse 10, and the sons of Simeon, and the sons of Levi, and the sons of Judah, and the sons of Issachar, and the sons of Zebulun, and the sons of Gad, and the sons of Asher, and the sons of these are the sons of Rachel's, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim. All right. And these are all the sons of Dan, the sons of Naphtali, verse 24. Verse 26, skipping down a little bit. All the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls were 66. And the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. So 20, a score is 20. So 60 is 60, and 10, which is 70. And he sent Judah before him unto Joseph to direct his face unto Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen, and that's where the children of Israel land. So this is talking about the 70 souls that came into Egypt, all these different brothers from the different sons of Israel, or the 12 tribes of Israel, and then them coming down into the land with their wives and some of their children. And so we find that other precept too, real quick. Where's that? Deuteronomy 10 and 22. And we'll go out of here real quick and get back. 10. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 22, and it reads, Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord thy God hath made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. So we went down, it was just 70 of us that went in. We came out an entire nation of people. We had grown into a nation of people. And that's because we're doing what Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians do. And this is one of the big issues of how we ended up in the captivity. You can find that in Exodus in the first chapter too. Let's go to Exodus chapter 1 real quick. Exodus chapter 1. And I mean, you can even go, this is a good straight point precept that can help you too, right? You go to Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. All right, you go straight to the point. This is a precept you want to use as well. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Right? And now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. So that's another thing. The more they try to destroy us and oppress us, the more and more we grew. And that's exactly the case that they have with us to this day. You know, Esau is not having children like blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Isn't that something? The so-called Europeans, the Caucasians of America, are having low fertility rate, but they've got the best medical attention. They got the best food and vegetables available. They got the best education, the best houses. They go in and get a massage every week and masseuse, all of that. They eat gluten-free, organic, and these devils still can't have children. They giving us McDonald's and Top Ramen, and we having kids popping them out like popcorn, man. We growing up on corn tortillas and straight carne asada, man, from the store, man. That's it. That was supposed to be the throwaway steak back in the days. They didn't want that steak that they were giving us, that the brothers from Issachar were using to make carne asada. That was supposed to be the throwaway meat, the tough meat. That's not T-bone steak. That's not prime rib. That's not no goddamn what they always love. What they eat, the filet mignon. They eating the skirt steak. They chopping that skirt steak up, flipping it, man, putting seasoning on there, the lime juice, the cilantro, you know, all the right seasonings on there, and turn it into a glorious meal. And now these heathens want to double back and I want to go to the taqueria. I want to go get me a burrito. I want to go and get me this and that. They want to come amongst the children of Israel and eat the food that was supposed to be scraps. They're going to go to the Benjamite restaurant, you understand, and get some oxtails, right? Get them some curry goat, the scraps that they threw away. Now they want to come and treat it like it's a delicacy because the children of Israel turned it into something glorious, man. These things that they've thrown away. I wouldn't be surprised if anywhere down the line you go to a goddamn Michelin star restaurant, and they're going to be up in there serving top ramen, trying to make spreads like the brothers in jail do and serve it off to you for $300 a goddamn plate. Mark my words, man, they're going to be doing something just like that. The same spread the brothers in the penitentiary is making, they're going to be making it in some Michelin star restaurant, trying to pass it off to you like it's some glorious thing when these are the things that we had in our suffering and our calamity. That's what was happening. The more and more they oppressed us, the more and more they pushed us down, the more and more they grew. They don't understand it. How you going to an Ivy League college, you living in the suburbs, got everything, got all the doctors, and you still can't have children. You giving these sisters in the hood top ramen and Kool-Aid, and we producing all the children, right? This is why they wanted to put us into these chains, right? Where we at? We at 8:30. We're gonna go ahead and cut it right there. We can pick it back up tomorrow. We're gonna keep going through these plays a little bit, bring out some more verses on this, and just showing how the Lord destroyed these people. And as this is the time that we in right now, waiting for these events to occur. And if America had any common sense, they would pay attention and take heed to what happened when they tried to mess with the children of Israel before, because they know who we are. I was just watching some documentary with, they call him Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, I think his name. Captain Zaryak was dealing with and battling them, I believe, or going up against them when he was on South Netta's TV a couple of years back. He's coming out and saying, yeah, there's these tribes in Africa that they believe are, Israelites, so-called Jews, and that the majority of people over here in America that are known as Black Americans come from the same area, and that it's no coincidence that we are having a big awakening and saying that we are the children of Israel. And what's in reality is what's really going on is that these cats over there in Africa probably remember when we were there, and they want to bite onto our culture and say that it's them. It may be some brothers left back, who knows? But what we know is the majority of the children of Israel are over here right now, because we're the ones that are really fitting those curses and really fitting those plagues that were talked about, prophesied. But one thing's for sure is that even they know who we are. You don't know who you are. You don't believe us when we tell you, but maybe you believe the goddamn oppressor when he says it. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick before we leave. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. I just came across this video yesterday. We'll see if it comes up. If not, we'll get back to, let me see. Let me see if a quick short comes up. Boom. Let me see if we can find shorts.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm retired. I play a lot of golf, and I just recently celebrated my 49th wedding anniversary.
Let's see if it comes up real quick. Let me see. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to see if I can find this real quick. Play this one real quick. Let's see.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I don't own it.
Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them. Also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that.
Good night. Maybe nah, nigga. This book, devil. This book don't got nothing to do with you, man. This book is the book for the niggas and spics, man. This is the God of the Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. And they know it. And we know it. You've always said it. It's always been in your spirit. The story doesn't match up. It doesn't line up. It doesn't even feel right for these people to be in slavery all of the time. Enslaved in Egypt, enslaved in Babylon, enslaved in the Assyrian Empire, enslaved in the Greeks and the Romans and the Medes and the Persians. All this. Come on, man. When have these oppressors really been known as slaves like that? How they can't even do the work and survive like that? And yes, I wonder if we also consider immigrants in Egypt like they do here in America. Yeah, they do. You know how the precept for that is, they looked at us like we should be in the back of the bus, what they call second-class citizens. It goes back into, what's that, in Exodus, or is this I believe so. Hold on. They didn't want to eat with Joseph. Where is that? Give you the precept on that too. Go ahead and close out. What is this? Genesis 43, 42, I believe, and maybe Genesis 46. Let's see. Genesis chapter 43. Let's go here real quick. 43 and verse 32. Blah, 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 blah. I believe we got that one right here. So we go ahead and go back. I'll read this one real quick. The book of Genesis, chapter 43, verse 32. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. It was an abomination for them to eat with the children of Israel. It's the same way they treat Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to this day, like a second-class citizen. Like I was saying that when we was getting on the plane, you going through the first class, and all the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans pretty much is going to the back. You might have a few every now sprinkled in first class. They got their money to get up there, right? But the reality is the majority of the niggas is in the back of the plane. And they figured a way to have segregation without having segregation. They use their money. It's the same way. How do you segregate a restaurant in California? Back in the days in the South, you just said no niggas, no Hispanics allowed, no Blacks, no Hispanics allowed in this restaurant. You can't use this bathroom. You can't come around us. How do you segregate it now with integration? You just raise the prices. Black people, Hispanic people can't make it here. The brothers from the hood and barrio can't come to this restaurant, but we can't afford this restaurant. So it's really whites only. It's really for the heathens only, you know, but it doesn't say that on the door. They didn't want to eat with us back then. They didn't want to eat with us today. They made these laws back then, and they looked at us like we were an abomination to them because we were simple people that were sheep herders. They looked down on us because we were dealing with these animals and these sheep. And I even think about it too, like going to Passover and to the slaughter of the lambs. If you remember walking through where the lambs and the goats were at, you remember the smell that it was around that area, right? Is a stench being around these sheep and these goats, right? So they looking down upon us because we working with these animals, but in reality, we were cleaner than them. It's the same way to this day. Like just because we work in these environments, we have a sense of cleanliness about ourselves, where you got to wash your hands, you got to take baths, you got to get clean because you're doing this work in the fields, man. It's no difference than going to, if you go to jail or to the penitentiary with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. These brothers in there are keeping things clean. They literally, some brothers is in there washing their clothes in the toilet bowl. But they saying if you see how clean they keep in the goddamn toilet, you can understand why they're doing this, man, because they're spotless. They're in a lower state in a cage living like animals, but we know how to maintain cleanliness even in our lowest state. And that's how it was dealing with these sheep. But to them in their mind, all they can see is just these dirty sheep, these dirty goats, these dirty people. We don't want to be with them. But in reality, the ones that were supposed to be so clean were these really disgusting and nasty Egyptians, no different today. These heathens, you go to these Edomites' houses, and the house looks all clean. Let me see if the brother can answer the question. Why are these Edomites' houses so clean and so nice and so glorious? Let me see if the brother can answer that. We're going to close out the class on this one. The same way the Egyptians felt so clean and so superior to us at this time. Why are these millionaires' homes so spotless and clean and nice today? Give it a couple more minutes. Why, if you go to Mark Zuckerberg's house and the house looks amazing on the inside? Okay. Let's see. I don't know if that's the answer to the question. Why is the heathen's house so clean? Why is it so nice where the heathens live at, where these devils live at? Is it because they're such a clean and glorious people? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and answer for time's sake, right? The reason why these oppressors, they really are disgusting people. They're really a nasty people. They're really a dirty people. The reason why their house is so clean is because we clean it. Because it's a Latino woman, a Latina coming in there and cleaning up after them. It's a black sister that's coming up in there and washing their dishes. It's somebody that's coming in there and washing their clothes. Exactly. There you go. You understand? Brother, they use us to clean their homes, to clean their streets, to clean their restaurants, to clean their cars, to clean everything. They don't do a goddamn thing. And if they really were left to their own selves, the houses would be disgusting. My rib worked for one of these devils. And she come up in there and she seeing how the dishes, she going for the weekend. They don't got nobody over there. Dishes all over the place. There's nothing, every goddamn dish in the house used. The toilet is disgusting. You understand? The only reason why they have cleanliness is because they can pay us to clean their house. And the only reason why they can pay us is because they are oppressing us. And then they come to the ghetto and they say the ghetto is disgusting and dirty and not clean. They say your house is disgusting and dirty and not clean. That's because we spend our whole goddamn energy cleaning your house. That's because we spend our whole time cleaning up your neighborhood. We don't have our neighborhoods put together because we're over there fixing up yours, man. And then even amongst that, we still maintain our cleanliness too, man, inside of that. But with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this class. For time's sake, we say shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua B'Chatham. To all the brothers, Yahweh Shem Alatam B'Shem Yahshua. To all the sisters, we'll pick it back up tomorrow. All right.